Hi, everybody. Dan Ullman, Matt Bernier. The Sunday DRF.com formulator race of the day is the Grade 2 John Henry Turf Championship at Santa Anita. Let's take a look at this field. We've got several horses, Matt, coming out of the Grade 2 Del Mar Handicap, won by the much improved Hunt, although some might argue that It's in the Post had the worse trip than Hunt, and now It's in the Post is the 2-1 morning line favorite.
Yeah, I think this is one of those classic examples where just strictly from a value standpoint, these two horses, there's not a lot that separates them. I think it can come down to trip, and ultimately this game's about making a dollar or two. I think from a value standpoint, you're supposed to be looking at It's in the Post of those two, if those are the ones that you decide on.
Head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. Download your free formulator past performances for the John Henry Turf Championship and handicap along with us. It's in the Post has just been a solid horse since Jeff Mullins took over. Second last time out in the Del Mar Handicap, and that trip just didn't work out. He was buried inside. Hunt got the jump on him. By the time It's in the Post got clear, he was rolling, but it was too late.
Yeah, he broke my heart that day. I was out there and I picked him, I bet him, I loved everything about him, and just all of a sudden I look at the trip and I go, this isn't what I had envisioned. I didn't think he would be that far off the pace. Keep in mind, this is a horse that was out there pushing Beach Patrol along in the United Nations. You know he's got a little bit of early gas. I cannot imagine there's any scenario where they take him that far off the pace again here.
Well, let's see what the Timeform U.S. Pace Projector has in store for the John Henry Turf Championship. And not surprisingly, they have the two Prime Attraction out there on the early lead. Prime Attraction broke from the far outside post in the Del Mar Handicap, pressed the pace, but he's just so green still in start number 10. I believe he must change leads about 20 times during his races, and then he faltered late. He is still lightly raced. That was the best Beyer speed figure of his career. Perhaps he is rounding into form for Jim Cassidy. And if they leave him alone, I think there's a scenario where maybe he could take them a long way at the very least.
Yeah, Dan, you and I, we've always thought this horse has a little bit of ability. The problem is he's his own worst enemy, and it still doesn't seem like he's learned it all. You see the connections clearly thought highly of him, paying over $300,000 for him. He's got some ability. The problem is he's just never going to learn, or it doesn't seem like he's going to learn at this point. He figures to be forwardly placed. I don't know that I trust him from a win candidate standpoint. I think he's one you could consider underneath.
The Three Frank Conversation could also be close to the pace. He raced twice at Saratoga this summer, and he only finished ahead of one horse and combined both of those races. But getting back to Southern California might really help him out. He has done well in graded stakes in SoCal in the past, including a half-length loss to the good Hashley Love Sugar 3 starts back.
Yeah, you brought it up. Coming east, that doesn't work for most horses as far as turf is concerned, let alone a horse like Frank Conversation, who the jury is out how good he actually is. I think getting back to Southern California certainly helps his cause, and he does. He has a little bit of tactical speed. He doesn't need to go to the front. He also doesn't need to come from 15 out of it. That alone at least puts him in position to maybe get a piece of this thing. I don't think he can win, but I think he can hit the board.
The number 4, Chicago Style. If you don't like horses coming out of the Del Mar Handicap, maybe Chicago Style is the one you're supposed to be interested in. This Keeneland graduate has won 5 of 6 lifetime starts. He's bringing a 3-race win streak into the John Henry, and he has really continued his ascent with the additional distance.
Yeah, Tom Proctor's done a really good job with this horse. They've taken step by step, just bit by bit, getting him better, facing tougher company. He's only lost 1 time from 6 lifetime starts. I think he's the kind of horse that, you know, if you really, put it this way, if you don't believe in Hunt and you don't believe in It's in the Post, and you can clearly poke holes in some of the other runners in here, why not the freshest face, the newest face in here, good connections, great turf rider, Drayden Van Dyke. I wouldn't fault anyone that said they wanted to go to Chicago Style.
Graded stakes winner Dressed in Air May, I think, was signaling that he needed a break after finishing last in both the Hill Prince and the Twilight Derby to complete his 3-year-old campaign. An interesting spot for his seasonal debut against Cupid and Curlin Rules, who we'll see Saturday in the Awesome again in the Harry F. Brubaker. He was far from embarrassed in that race, and he might improve switching back to his preferred surface in his second start off the cycle.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear he's a turf horse. The problem is I just don't know about this horse. Early on, as a 3-year-old, it looked like you had some promise. Even as a 2-year-old, it looked like this could be something. And he's one of those rare instances, Dan. I mean, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but it feels like he just never got any better. Now, he was thrown into some really ambitious placements, and maybe you could even argue some silly placements. But at the same time, it just doesn't seem like he ever took that next step.
Yeah, he was a really good 2-year-old, early 3-year-old, and I kind of agree with you. He hasn't gotten much faster. The 6 Up with the Birds is a Grade 1 winner of $1.8 million in his career. I think the argument could be made that at the age of 7, he's lost a little bit of zip off of his fastball. Last time out in the Del Mar Handicap, he was sort of last on the rail, turning into the stretch. A lot of work to do late. He finished with a little bit of interest, and he earned the first triple-digit Buyer speed figure for him since 2015.
Yeah, you know what? I hate to say it. I know Phil D'Amato can work wonders, and he does tremendous jobs with these turf horses. This is a horse to me that doesn't want to do it anymore or can't do it anymore simply because whenever he's faced even mediocre company, he hasn't been able to get the job done. This horse 3 or 4 years ago, certainly a player in here. I don't want him.
Inordinate won the San Juan Capistrano, then went to the bench for the summer, returned in the Del Mar Handicap off a little bit of a layoff. Another horse that was running late down towards the outside, although as he is wont to do, he hopped back to his left lead in the waning stages. But maybe that was a good first step for this horse in his first start back. He can improve for Baltus and Nakatani.
I would love to see him be more forwardly placed, as we saw when he was the rabbit out here in New York running at Saratoga for Chad Brown. I think he's the kind of horse that he's not totally without a chance in here. He's run some good races in the past. I just would like to see them get him a little bit more into the running early.
There was a point in time in the spring of 2016 when Hunt was considered strictly a downhill turf sprinter. Phil D'Amato has done such a wonderful job with this horse. He's turned him into a multiple graded stakes winner going long. He handled the 11 furlongs in the Del Mar Handicap, no sweat, beating 4 of these common rivals. But as we mentioned earlier, he had one of the better trips in that race.
Yeah, he really did. He's had a perfect trip throughout, and he got the jump on a horse like it's in the post. That's why I said at the top, I think of the two, you're supposed to take it's in the post if you like both of these coming out of that race. He really has done a tremendous job, Phil D'Amato has. The fact that this horse, how many horses can you look through their past performances and see victories from 6.5 furlongs to 11 furlongs? I mean, it's really a rarity. Turf or dirt, doesn't matter what surface it is. It's hard not to respect this horse. I think he's a major player in here. I would just stress, maybe because it's a Grade 1, maybe there's a little bit of a different sort of indication or inclination what the connections are looking for. This race, in my opinion, is so much more a prep for the Breeders' Cup than maybe some of these other races on Saturday at Santa Anita or that we see earlier. Obviously, it's on Sunday. I think Hunt, obviously, he's a player, but I would just say maybe this is a means to an end to get to the Breeders' Cup.
Win the Space is cross-centered in the Awesome again on dirt on Saturday. Dirt is where this horse has done the majority of his damage. He has listed a late change blinkers off for this race if this is where he's going to go. The last 2 times he stepped on turf in graded stakes competition, however, he finished last both times.
Yeah, no disrespect. He looks overmatched on Saturday. He looks overmatched on Sunday.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 2 John Henry Turf Championship. We're in agreement. We like the one it's in the post. We thought he had a tougher trip than Hunt last time out, and with perhaps a better break and a better position, he can outfinish Hunt this time around. Give me numbers.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1, 8, 3, and 4 in here. I think really you're looking at the horses coming out of the Del Mar Handicap, and I prefer it's in the post over Hunt.
I agree. 1, 8, 2, 7 for me in the Grade 2 John Henry Turf Championship. If you're betting the Santa Anita Sunday card from home, please sign up to DRF Bets by heading over to drf.com/fall. Use the promo code FALL300. Immediately gain access to a $300 sign-up bonus. Approximate post time for the Grade 2 John Henry Turf Championship. Perhaps an important prep for the Breeders' Cup Turf. 3:30 Pacific. Best of luck.